Whoa, hold on.
Wow.
Sorry, that was sorry. That was the wrong.
It honestly scared me.
That's for another show. Anyways, hello
That's
everybody.
totally different. That's different.
I thought I turned it off. Hey Lynn, how you doing?
I am great, Ruby.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
excited for us to be here tonight, and I'd like to welcome everybody out there for coming to Cali Cocktail Hour. That was a bit of a a little bit of a different voice that I had. So
Well, I have so many questions about it.
yeah, we want to say hello to Victor out there who has the magical sodas ready, and TJIF is for Chris. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man? Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for joining, and always willing to hop on as a co-host, Lynn. Great artist yourself too, and got coleslaw in the background, making some ASMR noises and some, get us in the mood and that
Yes.
calming feeling. So,
Mhm.
welcome everybody. We have Gioia Fonda today. Awesome teacher and professor, sorry, and artist. So it's great to have her on here because I've been wanting to ask her. But booking for me, booking guests, I get shy. So it takes me a little bit to ask someone, hey, but she said yes, and I was like, awesome, so that's great too.
Many talents. Reading about her, she's very multi-talented. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to ask her about her different mediums.
yeah. I'm excited about her dots that we talked earlier, so you'll be excited about that too when we bring her on about that too. So, but that's awesome. So how is your week? How is everyone out there? Teresa, buenas noches. Teresa also has a show, which I'm going to plug your show later on, Teresa. We are creating a live stream community out there, and I'm very excited about that too because a lot of them is about mental health and how you feel, like getting everybody out there talking. So there's 3 or 4 shows now that we did. So it's awesome that we can do that. We can talk about ourselves and talk about anything online too. Help everybody out. And going with that too, we did want to put the number to the because I've had a rough week this week too. And I had a couple of friends who took their lives during this pandemic. So if you need help out there, please use that number out there. And we all go through we all go through mental breaks, or depression or something like that. So please reach out for us and reach out too. So yeah, there's that. So how are you this week?
I'm doing, I started off and had a little bit of a hard week, and then it rounded out to be good. I have had kind of a busy um, week with business, and it takes me away from my studio, and my studio is what keeps me really happy and really kind of in my groove. And so I've been thrown off a little bit in February. It's not my best work, I'll be honest
Yeah,
with you, but just some highs and lows, but overall pretty good. But not being in my studio now that I've spent, over a year and a half in this new spot, it throws me off, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. And that's like I said, anything like is even more pronounced nowadays too. It's like for me, I went through, which I'm learning more emotional languages, so that helps me a lot too. I went through what do you call days? Now I forgot the word, but it was a little bit of a depression, right? It was situational, so I knew that it was going to go away. I knew that yeah, I go through that melancholy phase where I'm like, okay, I'm sad for this day, let's let it go and just absorb, just let it go. Because I know that it will pass. So my first couple of days this week were like that too. I'm like, okay, we got to do what we have to do. And it's, see, Maria just celebrated her birthday and she's feeling hopeful for 2021.
21.
Yes.
Happy
I'm also
birthday,
dyslexic,
Maria.
so it takes me a little bit. Yeah, happy birthday, Maria. Maria's an awesome person.
2022. No,
Yeah,
20 this
yeah.
year, right here and now.
Yeah, apparently, let me get some of this sake real quick so my mouth. Okay, so we also have Andrew Defy, who is the poet laureate of Sacramento, who also has a show another one of the live stream community who has a show. He has a show, and I'll plug him. I have a segment now for live streaming things people should go look at too, because it is original programming. You're not going to see this anywhere on cable or anything else. It's all live streaming, and we have a beautiful community of live streamers in Sacramento, growing at this point. So, but Andrew does a great joy hunt in the mornings. And I have a little bit of clip later on we're going to play about that too. So,
good.
but welcome, Andrew, and thank you very much. He sent us one, and he is a great poet, and he's a great personality too on live stream. So,
Good.
we have Andreas Alvarez, Mr. Luchador outfit. He's saludos, and he has a drink ready. Us.
Good.
Chris says, "Oh, you want to read that?"
Oh, you want me to read it? Sure.
Yeah.
So good to see you, Lynn and Ruben. Thank you, Chris. Been a tough week. A good friend passed away Monday. Very much needing these Cali Cocktail Week vibes. And Chris, I'm so sorry for your loss. I did read your posts and your tributes to your friend this week, and she looked like such a beautiful, vibrant, vivacious person. And it's just so hard seeing someone so young. It's hard at any age, but when you see someone just at such a young age, it just feels very painful. So I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, and I am sorry too. Like I did read your post. Sometimes I don't know. I'm not a very good texter, right? I'm the over texter. I text one too many sentences. I'm just trying to stop that. But it is better to emote to people. And I am very sorry for you, Chris, for your friend too. And Andrew says Christmas is sending you big love, and we welcome everybody. Like I said, every feeling is welcome here on Cali Cocktail Hour, especially Feelings Friday. That's what you come here for. You can unload.
It is Feelings Friday.
It is. So well, Ray says thank you, and then my week was okay. Didn't get a taco fix like I normally do. Taco Bell and 20. See, okay, see, I can't read that. 92113. Has the doors closed to the extreme. Yeah, so I made a few. So anything can put you in that realm. So happy birthday, Maria. Raquel says Yvonne Castro. I think she's calling out to her cousin. I think. Hello, everybody. Hello, Chris. Chris is starting live streaming now. He'll have a live stream. I'm going to produce a show for Lynn soon too. So watch out for that.
For me, Lynn?
Yes, it'll be your own show. So it's always nice to be here. It's always nice to have you, Raquel. We'll figure it out. I'm going to be the producer, and we'll be
Okay, speaking of, really quick, I just want to compliment you on the beautiful video that you put together to launch the show. It's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
It's just so nice.
Yeah, thank you I appreciate it. It took me a while to do it. I'm learning beautiful. As I go. So I'm learning a different kind of art form as I go along too, which is I call myself a live stream artist now too, because that's where we're headed to in a sense too. Hello, everybody. Feeling grateful for this event. Joy is a wonderful, yes, and Joy is a wonderful person, a wonderful artist, and we're so excited to have her here because we do have lots of questions for her. And Chris says, thanks for the love and really appreciate you all. Yes, and one thing I want to say to everybody is that, if you're only here just to say that we love you, that's what we're here for, because we do love you, and that's just come here for that if you need to hear that, because we will tell you over and over again. So we're going to play a song again, not again, but we'll play a song, and then we'll come into to Gioia and talk to her, and we'll show some art. We'll talk, and we'll drink some sake. Lynn's drinking red wine tonight. I think Gioia is too. Yeah,
she is.
So let's go to the song, and Gioia, be ready. Gioia, we're ready for her soon.
We're ready for you.
Yes. And then Cruz Novato is, yes, hello, Cruz. Cruz is a great connoisseur of art too, and I think what's your new title, Cruz? I'll put that down for you. He's always a champion. He's my champion. He's my champion. My brown champion.
I like it.
Anyways, so let's play a song. Let's get together. Hold on a second. Oh, thanks for the invite. You're welcome. So we will get to the song. We'll come back with Gioia. Get your drinks ready. Relax. Take a deep breath. Let it out. And we'll be back in a second. So I did make this video of bats and Was it bats and something else? So
Oh, I
you'll
hope
see bats
so.
there.
I
Yeah,
hope it's bats.
it is a glitch one. It is
Okay.
bats. I forgot what the other one was. I think they're butterflies and bats. Yeah,
Ooh,
hanging out.
okay.
So, all right. So, thank you everybody for coming out, and we will be right back after this song.
That's just love. I would never let you down. That's just love. And you keep on thinking that's just love. That's just love. I would never let you down. That's just love. And you keep on thinking that's just love. That's just love. I would never let you down. That's just love. And you keep on thinking that's just love. That's just love. I would never let you down. That's just love. And you keep on thinking that's just love. That's just love. I would never let you down. That's just love. And you keep on thinking that's just love. That's just love. I would never let you down. That's just love. And you keep on thinking that's just love.
When the bats came, it'd be the time. Hey, Joey. Welcome, Joya. How you doing? Sorry, I had this whole narrative when bats came out, but it didn't work out too well. So, anyways, welcome.
Hi.
Welcome, Joya.
So we had a talk with you early before the show about what you were doing with your dots, but we'll get to that in a second. We'd like to thank you for coming to Cali Cocktail Hour and appreciate you coming out and talking to us. And we do love your background and the cups.
Oh,
The
I
cups
love
work
this.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah, you're in my kitchen.
yeah, that's awesome. I thought it was an art studio. I was like, perfect.
This corner is the part of the house that, if I have a studio at home, it's this corner. But I don't really make stuff here besides paint dots. But this is like my reading, thinking corner of the
Wow.
house.
Yeah,
So
and
it's mostly books and stuff that I mean to read, but I never get around to it.
I think we all have those books, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So how you been this week? How's everything going with you?
It's been going. I can't complain, but I do.
Yeah.
And
That's good.
yeah, somebody asked me to put together a packet of, previous images from like way back, like college and whatever. And I avoided it for a month. And then I couldn't figure out why I was avoiding this task. And then I realized it's because it's a lot of work to like dig through the archive. And I just didn't have the mental space to like face the past. You know what I mean? Like when you're going through photos and you're like, it's pictures of good times and maybe people that aren't around. And like, you just see your face getting older and older and older with every photo. And it was just like, oh my gosh, it put me in a weird headspace to be delving around in the past so much.
Yeah. It's hard because I just had the same thing. I went through the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, look at this, you look at yourself. Lucky I don't take that many pictures of myself. So I think that's why maybe movie stars are depressed all the time because they see themselves on the, because they, when they're like at the height of their, physicalness, and so, but it is true that looking back at photos, you're like, wow, okay, where did the time go? And I'm sure it sends you to, a little bit of a,
I think I subconsciously knew that it was going to throw me for a loop-de-loop. And so that's why I was avoiding it.
Yeah.
And, I probably have less than 10 pictures of myself in my 20s because it was, pre-digital times. Maybe I have a couple of rolls of film that I didn't develop where there might be a picture. So it was kind of hard to find anything. And, when you look at pictures of artists, or that's what I do a lot of times, and you see the same picture over and over and over again, you're like, wasn't there another picture? And now you realize like, no, there actually probably wasn't another picture. This is the picture.
Picture.
Yeah.
When,
go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say when I moved 3 years ago, I just got very rash and I threw away all of my yearbooks and so many photos. And I don't know if I regret it, but I mean, we threw away just many photos, and there's not a ton of me because I've avoided the camera always, but I don't know if I regret throwing away my yearbooks. Who's gonna look at those? I never looked at my yearbooks.
I think I did once.
You did?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was like, who is that dude? Who's that guy? Yeah.
I think I was on the yearbook committee. Like I was the yearbook editor for 2 years. So I think to me, it's not just about like the pictures of me, but like this thing we produced. And it was like that carved out my time, but I haven't looked at them in 20 years. They've been in storage. So I know I still have them, but I can't put my hands on them. They're somewhere out there.
We're not going to make you go dig them out either, Gioia.
Oh God. No.
Yeah.
You'll never see me again.
So yeah, Victor says he doesn't have any pics. His hard drive crashed right now. So.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris said, "Love rules." That's a good one. Yes.
It does.
So, and it is going. You know what they say about the past. The past is, that's depression, right? You get depressed. The future is anxiety. That's why you try to keep in the present.
That's right.
But it is hard not to look at those too.
Well, and when you have to sometimes.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, and then I don't know.
That's why I got this wig. I think it worked pretty good for me. So
that's past, present, and future.
That's right. That's right. So, so Gioia, you are a professor at Sac City, right? How long have you been doing that for? That's what makes you the most nervous part. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I shouldn't.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
I have been there. I started there as an adjunct, I think, in 2006.
Yeah.
And then I was hired full time, I think, in 2008. So I've been there for a while now, like 12, 13 years now, as a full timer. And I've got probably another 20 years there, 15, 20 years there. So.
Well, I know your students talk highly of you. I know two of them, Andreas Alvarez and Bridget. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Those are two good ones. There's probably.
Okay, well, yeah. But they're always like, so those are the ones that made me nervous. That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, I go, well, what are you going to ask Gioia? I'm like, I mean, not they didn't say that, but I'm like, in my head, that was the question. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I was nervous when I met you because you were doing the band and I was doing the
ballet, right?
The ballet.
Yes.
The ballet displays, and I was like, I don't know if these people think I'm adding anything to this equation. Like,
Oh, it's great.
I wanted to, I like the idea of making set designs for dancers, but then
Yeah.
that space was complicated because it wasn't a normal dance space.
Yeah.
And then dancers, you know, they want your shit out of the way. They don't want your stuff in their way, which is, oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so the ballet that we're talking about is with Zara Hayes and Clay Nutting was one of the first. It was an all volunteer. We volunteered all of our time for a benefit, and it was students, ballet dancers, not like they have now the professional ones doing it. And it was pretty cool. It was crazy. It was like see, everybody was just running around doing everything they could, and you know, we didn't know what we were doing, but we saw that twice, you know, on that one. So
And live
it was
music.
cool.
And
Yeah.
you were providing some of the live music, which was
Yeah,
wonderful.
it was live. Yeah, and with Brian Valenzuela playing, you know, and Exquisite Core and Sister Crayon and Dusty Brown and all these really cool stuff that I think doesn't get that much credit for doing that too.
And,
I mean,
and your band was called Something Shapes.
oh, Drifting Shapes, yeah,
Drifting Shapes.
yeah. That's
And
when I
did
was.
Zara do all the choreography for it, or was
Yes, which was a very stressful job in its own too. So
she's a very talented lady?
yeah, and I'm gonna go real quick. Hello, I'm joining Martini. It's a great vinyl by the fire. Love having you chances. Man, my dyslexia is getting worse and worse. So anything with two sentences, Lynn, you got to read.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Hello, hello. Enjoying a martini and some great vinyl by the fire tonight. That sounds very nice, Anna. Love
That's-
having the chance to join these Friday nights with you.
Yeah, and that's my niece. My niece and I have been looking for our DNA in our past. So all these indigenous, the map that I showed earlier today was kind of our our journey, right? But also the journey is also met with some emotional times and stories and people that grandparents or that didn't want to share the stories because they didn't believe that they were worthy of it, but they are, and so it's interesting to always go back in your DNA and looking at things. Marie says hi. Oh, hey, Maria Costa. That's from Cruz. And Cruz is let me go back here because I don't want to. He is the new art commissioner for District 4. So welcome, Cruz.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So Cruz, Navarro Cruz. Okay. That must be a. Is there any photos of the ballet? I don't think we did that.
It was hard to
video.
photograph. It
Yeah.
was really hard to photograph. It just looks like I have no good photos of it. I'll just
Yeah.
put it that way.
And yeah. And the story is life is but a dream. It was a dream, right? It was something that existed, but no one knows that existed in a weird way because it was a very, yeah.
When
so,
was it? When
was
did this?
I don't know, 12 years ago, maybe?
It was a while ago.
13 years
It was
ago, yeah.
Some time ago, yeah.
Yeah. So when all the new Sacramento is getting all the press, don't forget the old Sacramento parts too, or the the ones that built the bridges to that too, because there was a lot of stuff that we did back then that was everybody volunteered, and I know Zara was going crazy, not literally, but with all
Yeah.
that stuff that we had to do. But there was like she had to choreograph like 5 different bands.
Yeah.
And set design. Gioia had to do set design. We didn't even know. I mean, didn't really know each other at that point. It's like hi, and then you get to like. I mean, I'm a social awkward artist, so I know. I mean, I was a musician back then, but
I
too.
think I like the thing I made for your music the best. Though.
Yeah, you said
I did
that
the
too.
clothesline with the little
Yeah.
bits, and I still have some of that.
Yeah, it was very colorful. It was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I repurposed it a couple of times, and that one actually looked good on the stage because it had neon string in it, and the lighting did favors to it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Nice.
But
And
yeah,
Cruz said thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
so I was nervous around you once. So there's no I don't think there's a reason for us to be nervous around each other.
I'm not nervous anymore. 3 things
Okay,
of
good.
sake. I'm done. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Ship sailed on that nervousness.
It's time. Lynn.
Sorry, Lynn doesn't
So,
like that
Gioia,
voice.
what kind of performance art do you do? I read the bio that Ruben had sent out, and I looked at your website, and I was just enraptured by all your beautiful art. But then I saw performance art, and I wanted to ask about that.
Well, that would be kind of a light category for me, but I do feel like there are times when I create events and then it's kind of performative what I do. So maybe, I mean, I don't even know how people define performance art anymore, because things have kind of fractioned off into other words. I think some of what I've done would be called social practice artwork now. But when I was doing like the Give a Fork project, I dressed up as a fork and walked around to ask people to give me their forks, to promote an art project that was a sculpture that was also, it's a long story and it didn't work, but I dressed up as a fork.
Okay.
And
I like it.
I've made parades happen, Pink Week parades, and other bike parades and other events happen. And I wouldn't say that there's a character that I play, but definitely you have to kind of bring a certain energy to that that's performative. And so there was a time when I would proselytize my made up holiday on the subway. And so that was kind of performative because you're putting yourself out there with an audience that isn't expecting to engage and you're trying to get them to care. So that's sort of examples of what I consider me performing, where it's definitely part of my art practice, but it's not a painting or something tangible.
Is Pink Week still happening?
No.
Or what was that about? I saw photos of that and I was just drawn
I
to
did it
that.
for 25 years and it will live on in memory, I guess, if it matters at all. It's a made up holiday, but if you think about it, every holiday is made up at some point. And I celebrated it long enough that it felt like a real holiday to me. But it also went from being something really fun to being like, you know how a lot of women hate Christmas because it's a lot of work?
Yeah.
It got to a place where it was just very expensive to do. And I think that it's a pretty futile project. It always has been in terms of trying to get people to think of pink differently. When I started it, I think pink had a whole different, like people really, if you were a feminist, you wouldn't identify as a person who would wear pink when I started it. And by the time I ended it, we had like pink pussy hats. So, but I still kind of lost the battle because what I wanted it to be was like that pink isn't about feminine or femininity or female, or that pink has other meanings and roles. And to get people to think about holidays and why we have them. And I think that I like the mail art aspect of it. It was kind of a pen pal project for me because I moved a couple of times. And so I was always mailing it out across the, everywhere that I had been before. But after 9/11, it became harder and harder to mail things that are lumpy or weird packaging and more expensive. And the internet happened. And then I guess people kind of measured the success of it, or I felt like people measured the success of it by like how many followers it had or whatever. And I just thought it wasn't about that. Like I didn't, and bigger is not better. Like bigger for me just meant more expensive. So I think I grew it as large as I wanted to. And then I just got tired of explaining it. And I got tired of it taking over my fall. And I thought if I'm not loving the project anymore, I should kill it. So I kind of knew on the 22nd year of it that I was going to end it at 25. It felt like I wanted to end on a good number. The 24th year was really the best year that was like the peak of it, the best that it ever was. And then the 25th year, we had all these wildfires and I had a big show to like cover the whole history of it. And then it got shut down. No one got to see it because it was on campus and the campus was closed because of the smoke. And so it just kind of went out with a whimper. so
You're 24.
So we need to bring it back for the 25th year, right?
Yeah. Would you ever want to bring it back, or do you feel like that has been put to rest? And
maybe when I'm very old and we can have some perspective on it, we'll see where we're at. But right now, I'm very happy that I killed it.
Yeah.
Maybe
well,
we could
it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
All the imagery that I saw on your site was amazing.
I liked it because it gave me a reason to like create a community show or an event, and I to participate. I got to give people a chance to participate in something, and I like that. So I just have to come up with other things, other ways to get people to participate and stuff. So it doesn't have to be pink.
Yeah, and if you ever wanted to do a live stream, pink, I would more welcome to produce it for you and put it out there for you. Just in
Yeah.
case, just throwing it out there.
Oh, thanks. Well, the
Yeah.
other weird thing that's happened is that in that time, because I started it when I was an undergraduate, and I didn't know that I was committing to something for the rest of my life or whatever. And then I became a color theory teacher, and I used my color theory class really as a platform to talk about colors and how they get their meanings, and trying to liberate people from thinking so simplistically, like a color can mean one thing. I really don't like that. And so I think my color theory class has kind of become my new Pink Week, because I can kind of talk about my gripes with all the colors and the way they're treated. And I still feel passionate about pink. I still love the color, and I still think it's misused a lot of the time and underappreciated and kind of put into this weird female ghetto. But anyway, now I can defend yellow and orange and.
Well, you know what's funny about pink? Every time I go to Mexico, I'm like, they have the most beautiful way of using pink and all the houses. I'm like, oh my god! And I use pink a lot now too.
Yeah,
and
they know what
I
to do with it. They do.
Yeah, they really do. And it's like, I mean, I think my cheeks are getting pink from the sake right now, or just talking about it. Chico says, Chico says, "Salud, Ruben." Chico has another great live stream. I always call him his spiritual mentor on that. Spiritual guidance.
From the net.
Yeah, and he did this great live stream last night with a female Chicana DJ. He's been doing the series of beautiful stuff. I mean, it's some beautiful work there. So, hello, Chico. And then Jamie says, hi, Lynn. Yeah.
Hi, Jamie.
And then
Jamie is one of the founders of Solomon's Delicatessen.
Yeah, so if you go out there,
is
go to Solomon's.
Person, and she's
Yeah.
a lot of work in the Solomons. So.
Chico Andreas says,
putting yourself out there in front of an audience that may not care. Being a professor meets Gioia's definition of performative art.
And
yeah,
also,
that's true.
See, the final Pink Week. See, now it's funny because now I want to see what the Pink Week final show was, and if it wasn't seen, the funny part is that we live streamed Andreas's because he did his luchador. Remind me what it was, the name of it. But something COVID happened. The tree fell down, but we live streamed it and everybody wanted to see it, afterwards, because like, oh well, we can be a little bit intimate here and talk to the artist, and so so I'm putting it out there if you want to do like a narrative what Pink, because it would be a good show to do that too, because I want to know what Pink Week is in history wise too. So.
Well, I took pretty good pictures of that, and basically a big portion of the show was a wall of my archive of like what happened each year. So I had a framed kind of narrative for every single year of Pink Week, and then some other sort of artifacts nearby.
Yeah.
And so I have all of that, and it's all framed up and just being stored, waiting for someone to care someday. I probably need some distance on it. And then I brought home the whole archive. Like I've got boxes and boxes and boxes of material that needs to be pared down. I think I need to make some like Pink Week grab bags and sell them or something. I've got all this extra pink stuff in my life that I think I don't need as much of it anymore. But I'm keeping care of it because I still feel like I put so much work into it. It was such a huge part of my practice for so long that I'm not gonna get rid of it, but I think it's just time to make other things happen.
Yeah. So, although we want to see it, but yes. So
I do, but I really want to take your color theory class. Just talking about it. And,
so look at this.
Yeah. Oh, right here. Highly recommend Gioia's color theory class. Changes how you see / understand color. Just talking about that, it sounds really interesting. I want to.
It's a rousing endorsement. I love that class. It's my favorite class. Just like moms aren't supposed to have favorite children, I probably shouldn't have a favorite class. But color theory is without a doubt my favorite class, and I think it's because I've met people on my way to becoming a professor. I've met a couple people that really they hated teaching color theory. It was like the short straw to draw. And when I finally got to teach it, I was like, are you kidding me? Sure. Yeah, I want to do that. So I think that there's maybe a lot of dispassionate color theory teachers out there that are teaching it because they have to. And I feel like it's the one thing I'm super qualified to teach. So
Awesome.
I love
Well,
it.
now, yes, that's great.
Joya, are there any bad colors?
are there bad colors?
I mean,
There's
do you have aversions to any colors based on not just aesthetics, but just your teeth?
beige.
I'm just curious.
I struggle with beige.
Okay.
I don't understand why there's so much beige in the world.
Bridget says I second what Andreas said,
Yeah. Thanks, Bridget.
Those are
and
your
I think that's
fans.
3 of them.
Mhm.
Heather says good evening. Good evening, Heather. Heather's another co-host of mine who, I just say, hey, come co-host. Like, okay. So I'm glad that people, I'm all trust. No, just kidding. But yeah, it looks like you have, like that. Andreas and Bridget are always talking highly of you all the time. So that I'm, excited that they
They're
are here.
two of my favorites. No
Yes.
denying it.
So, Victor says I'm too shallow for art unless it's real stuff that doesn't appeal to me. Okay, that's honest, right? I don't think shallow is anything really. I don't know about that.
Just a preference.
Yeah. So, but I would love to show some artwork. So I'm gonna go to a spot where I do highlight some of these shows that are coming up for live streaming, and then we'll come back and show some of your artwork and get more into because I think all this, and we want to see that dot that you made. So, let me pull up this comment real quick. Oh, hold on, here it is. This is more than 2 lines, Lynn. You want to read this?
Sure, I got it. Joya put on a great show at my college, Shasta College. She titled the show "Everybody Has Dog Legs." Dog legs? All right. Perfect title. And so Joya, students still talk about the show.
That's awesome.
Everybody has dog legs.
I love that.
I want to have dog legs. I have them.
A dog leg can be a lot of things, but a lot of times it means a sharp turn.
Mm-hmm. I like
That's
it.
awesome.
Everyone's still talking about it, Joya. It sounds like you make a lot of really good impressions on your students.
Yeah, that's great. So, you made a good impression on me. I just was too shy to talk to you more, if that makes sense. So, but I'm not shy anymore. I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's go back. So we're gonna go back to this. The section is called on what I'm gonna bring out the live streamers or just talk about their shows real quick, and then we'll come back and go. So that's my intro. But I like to talk about this new live stream community, and which is going to go beyond COVID, which is, another thing was artists, DJs, healers are coming about and doing these shows. And I just shout out for Rajas y Rojas, which is by Chico. And Chico does it every Thursday night. I think it's 10 o'clock. He switches on Thursdays, but check it out. Really cool shows. He had one with Brown Issues. This new... I love the Chicanex DJ series, and they were great. What they put on was some really cool music that took me back back in the day when my dad would take me to a bar, which he's not supposed to, but remember the music. Tomorrow morning at 6 in a.m. will be Teresa is live streaming show, and it's about healing, and she's an Aztec dancer and healer and a light healer. So, but she starts at 6 in the morning. Uli has a show called Welcome to My Brain, which is all animation. I was hoping to get some stuff from him too today to show some stuff. And I want to talk about Andrew Defy because Andrew has a show called Masked Up, and that's a community health show, and that's he's working with Senator Pan's office and Project Us. But in the morning he has The Great Joy Hunt, which is a wonderful show about finding joy. He's going to write a book about it. He is the Sacramento Poet Laureate. He is actually doing something that no one is doing out there right now. But I do want to play a little bit of his show so we can see what's going on. But so Andrew, show comes out at 10 in the morning. I said 10-ish because he has that time. So we'll show a little bit of the show and then we'll come back with real quick.
A lot of the time we just sit so focused. Oh yeah. And so to me, like meditation is just like, you know what? Let me just take a couple breaths and just appreciate where I am and appreciate that I even get to observe this moment right now, right? Because truly, one day I won't be able to observe this moment. You know what I mean? And so it's truly a blessing to be able to observe moment to moment and really take stock of the moments that you're in. And then as you continue to do the work, it's one of those things where you can observe a moment and be like, yo, I must have done a lot of good work because I'm in such a different place than I used to be a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And I always reflect on that too, man. Like I grew up in the hood, man, and a lot of cats that grew up with me did not grow up the same and did not have the ability to experience the same things. And so I always reflect on those moments and just, again, gratitude, like, yo, I've made it thus far. And I appreciate that and just stay in that appreciation. So it doesn't have to be some deep meditative thing. It's just really kind of like you said earlier, taking stock of the moment and being like, this is what I do have.
So Andrew just shows that are, everybody has like a different audience too. Everybody has we have like different people that we reach out to. So, but I'm really happy about this new live streaming community that we're gathering because it's always the artist moving forward. And Andrew is part of the Sacramento Artist Corps too. And so there'll be more different shows coming. So, but yeah, just get out there and watch them. And if you want to find some joy, go to Andrew's show too. And Chico says, shout out to Chico Gonzalez. Yes, I second that too. Let me ask, so Victor said this, if I was more informed about art, I may be able to enjoy other types of art. Do you have to be informed about art to enjoy other types of art? I don't
know if you need to be informed about it, but open to it would help.
Yeah, open, I think, right, to it. So
but I think the information can help. Like as soon as you get to know someone better, it's hard to hate on them. Like once you know their life story or a little bit of the background, you're like, oh, I should give this person a little bit more time. And you know what I mean? Like it's hard to dislike people once you get to know them better. And so I think once you understand, get a little bit of context about like when something was made and who made it and what their motivations were, then it can really flip your switch in terms of liking it or not. It doesn't have to like it or get something from it doesn't mean you have to want it in your house.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good information to have there. So, Lynn, you want to take that one on?
Hold on. I got to put my glasses on for it. Okay, hold on. Sorry. The last place I saw some art was at Tularosa House of Art in my zip 92102. Had some good historical type of art pics. He also had some art pics of the community. And it sounds like Victor likes that. I mean, everyone is drawn to very, very different art. I mean, Gioia teaches it, so I feel like for me to even speak to it is silly when we have her here. But I like very, very abstract art. I like pure white canvases. I mean, and I just think it's just so personal. And I know that sounds like a generic statement, but I definitely think he doesn't not like art because he's not informed. It sounds like he just found something he liked.
Yeah, the first assignment I give my students in the painting class is I give them a big list of artists to explore, and I tell them to find like a few things that they like and a few things they don't like. And in the before times, we'd print those out and we put them on the wall, and I have the wall divided like dislikes and likes. And the same artist ends up on both sides of the wall. And it's a way to show people like, okay, well, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that there's another person in the classroom that really, that's on their like side, and that you can still listen to them and get information from them, but you might filter it. Like when we had Siskel and Ebert doing movie reviews, if you always disagreed with Siskel and he said he love the movie, then you might know that that's a movie you don't like. Or if he hated the movie, you might think, well, he might have hated it, but that's probably a sign that I'm going to like it. You know, you can kind of,
Yeah.
it's still information. And then if both of these people who usually have really different tastes both like it, then it's kind of like, oh, maybe it's extra good because we've got a lot of different kinds of people that like it. I think people need to feel more empowered to dislike and like things. I just wish that there was more, you know, it's like the slow food movement. There's a slow art looking movement where instead of just judging it right away, you spend more time analyzing it and thinking about it and delving into interpreting it on your own. And then maybe it's less clear if you like it or not. It's not, maybe let it not be so much about liking it and let it just kind of have an optical and emotional, you know, effect on you and think about it a little bit more and see it more of an experience that you can have rather than a positive or a negative. It just is. It's just this thing and you're something that can receive it. So.
Right on.
I think that's great and applies to people and music. I think that's so spot on. Just not being so quick to judge and just rule it as I don't like that.
Yeah, it's there. You know, I think that, and it depends. There's lots of different. I mean, that's what art history is, and theory, and criticism, and philosophy. But you know, I come at it from a humanist place, which is that the purpose of art is to communicate the whole range of human experience, and it's not all pretty, right? We have a lot of pain and a lot of fear, and art can be drawing upon any of those experiences or expressing any of those experiences, and it's there to communicate something to the receiver. And it, you know, it's that I'm using a lot of analogies tonight, but like a tree falling in a forest, you know, like it only matters if it does get received, and then what we do with that reception. Like, so you're, as a viewer, you're the receiver, and it's up to you to kind of, you could choose to ignore it. You could choose to stand there and think about it. You could choose to judge it, but you could also choose to not judge it and to just feel it and then play with that.
I like that. Yeah. And I think that's, you know, that's people emote to things, right? Different emotions. And, so we do want to play some of, not play, I said as a musician, we want to show some of your artwork, and we'd love to, you know, for you to tell us what, you know, what it is and all the wonderful stuff that you have to say.
I can do that. Yeah.
All right. Ready? Okay, here we go. Because, you know, I should have done this earlier, but we had such a great it's such a great conversation. That's why sometimes we get lost in the conversation, but that's awesome, you know, too. So I'm going to bring up some of your artwork here right now, and maybe you can give us a little tour of it, visual tour, right? Here he goes.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. No kidding. Okay.
Okay, so this one I gave you tonight because it's called When Curiosity Dreams. And this is about the Mars rover Curiosity.
Oh, wow.
And now we have a new Mars rover, Perseverance. But this was about curiosity and me feeling like that little rover, that little robot that we put on another planet might be kind of lonely. And that at that time, that little rover was missing the Olympics. And we had that wonderful gymnast winning all the prizes, and she wore that purple leotard, and her name was Gabby Douglas.
Yeah.
And so the loops at the bottom are sort of semi-Olympic rings, but kind of like saying like, oh man, I feel bad for that little rover because it's missing the Olympics right now. This is just kind of where my head goes. I don't know, you know, what it feels like to be a rover, and I know that they're not sentient, but I just think that I also get concerned, like we're just kind of like, first thing we do is go out there and just litter other planets now, and there's just like so much trash in space. I wonder if that's not going to bite us in the ass later on.
It probably will, but
yeah, I mean, I'm all for space exploration, but I just think like, isn't there a way we could like have the little robot like sweep up all our crap and send it back or burn it or something? I don't know. It just seems irresponsible.
We need another rover for the rover.
Yeah, the moon is just littered with crap that we've sent there. So, yeah, so I just thought that this was kind of fun since it was about a rover, and this week's news was also about a rover.
Right on. We'll bring up another one too. I love that one too. I love the colors on it.
I love it too.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, Joya.
Yeah, just so you know.
Thanks.
Yeah. And I know this is a series that you were doing too, right?
Yeah, this was a series I was doing last year. Um, somewhere in the springtime, probably around, you know, Ahmaud Arbery or George Floyd. I go for a walk every day because I'm stuck in my house teaching online and I have to get exercise. And I used to get exercise by riding my bike to work every day, but now I'm not going anywhere. So I have to force myself to go out and walk. And my walking is my best thinking time. And I take a lot of photos when I walk anyway. But during that week of, and probably George Floyd, I was just so upset and thought, here we go again. This is the same thing. There's going to be outrage and strife and promises made and things not changing. And I could just feel that it was another, and it was such a, every one of those kind of police violence events is just an absolutely horrible event. But I think that the fact that it was daylight and it went on and on for 9 minutes, and then he had his hands in his pockets. The whole thing was just absolutely over and above the normal fuckery. So,
Yeah. And these are like just different signs from Sacramento, or
yeah. So
all
I
over
would go
Sacramento?
for a walk each day, and I was just taking pictures and trying to like put it together in my head. And these are just pictures in my neighborhood. I live in kind of Oak Park, South Sacramento area, kind of the
Yeah.
border between the two. And so I walk a lot of these areas, and even just trying to put together these signs, the signs themselves kind of tell a story of what kind of businesses are in the area and how they're maintained. And, things are run down because of systemic racism. It just comes back circling around over and over and over again. So there's a lot of like rent to own furniture places and car repair like AutoZone type situations, pawn shops, liquor stores,
Yeah.
fast food, and I try to find signs that kind of indicate the history of the neighborhood or long enduring businesses. And, things are kind of burnt out, or you could tell that it was a popular business at one time when the neighborhood might've been better. I just think that there's something, our landscape tells a story. And if you dig deep, it's just like, there's a time I heard somebody say, like, wherever you don't see Black people, it's because of racism. And I remember kind of chewing on that and thinking about my own life and spaces in which there were a lack of color in terms of the diversity of the people. And I hadn't thought about it being like an active place of racism before, because there's no one to be racist against because it's all white people. But
Yeah.
there's a reason why it's all white people, and kind of unpacking all that. And
Yeah.
so these blocks I was doing on Instagram, I'd kind of post one letter a day. So some people just enjoyed them for their typography, but if any of them clicked on my feed, they would see that I'm spelling something out each time. And I had these kind of other images in between each of the blocks, and the blocks kind of represented different neighborhoods. And then I printed posters and sold posters and gave a bunch of money away. So
Right on. And then this one right here.
that is a self-portrait called Self-Portrait as Loose Ends. And I painted that in layers. And I think it was 2018 maybe, or 2019. I'm not sure. And as I painted all those strands, I thought about like unfinished projects or phone calls I forgot to follow up on, or people I lost touch with, and I think I'm like a insomnia person that thinks about, conversations that you had 12 years ago when you wish they went different, and you're thinking about
Yes.
snap
That-
come back.
I was
Story of
going to say insomnia. I'm like, we need to talk about that too, because that's a
Yeah.
perfect one. And, and having conversations with yourself about the past. And I wish I would have said this, or,
Yeah. So this is just kind of, I think, like a self-portrait of my the frenetic part of me. It's not all of
Yeah.
me, but it's definitely part of me is represented in this kind of disorganized jumble.
right on. So that was great. That was awesome. Because, and you use a lot of color, I notice, and a lot of, you're not, some people say afraid of color on that, on that part. So when your students, like, we say you have Andreas and Bridget too on their back there, is it, I don't think I've ever taken an art class. So how would you go about, like Lynn said about color theory, like what would you recommend for people who want to learn about color theory or better intimidated by it, right?
Well, there's a bunch of different. I mean, I know I buy every. I don't want to say I buy every book, but if there's a book on color, chances are I've bought it or looked at it. And so it depends on where you're at, like what you plan to do. There's books on color that will help you just think of it, just understand it, just understand the physics of it. There are books on color that can tell you, specifically about how to use it in art or interior design or fashion. And then there's just people feeling, I know for some people, it's just a big deal to like wear different color pants. So,
Lynn, sweatpants?
I know. I'm all. Some of us may or may not be on this show right now.
Yeah. Okay, here it is. We do have a question for you.
I don't have a favorite color, but I do have favorite combinations of colors.
First favorite color.
First favorite color. I've never had a favorite color. I've always been like, my favorite color is rainbow. Like I've been a rainbow addict since this high. I would go through phases. I will say that I also like words. And as a child, I would, my mom's an artist. And so I had, access to maybe entry to art in a different way. But I would say like my favorite color is indigo or periwinkle or chartreuse or puce. So anything that like another kid wouldn't know the name of, like, that seemed exotic to me. Like it wasn't blue. I would go through phases where I'd say like mauve was my favorite color for a while. So, but it wasn't truly my favorite color. I just liked, it's kind of like when you like a band that no one's heard of and you lord that over people. I think my own color nerdiness was like, I like ecru.
Burn. Total burn.
Yeah. Take that.
Yeah. I like that.
And so Raquel says, interesting, I would. And she said, I would like to know where I start learning more about color.
Well, I mean, just within arm's reach, I have this book that is a great book. I mean, it just depends. You kind of want to get into it wherever you're at. This one's called How to Make Ink. And it has different recipes for how to make your own inks and paint with your own inks. And that's kind of an interesting way. So like natural dyes and just kind of making, I mean, you can use them to write letters or paint paintings or just make blobs. And this is a beautiful, accessible book.
What was the book called again? I'm sorry.
Make Ink.
Make Ink. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The book that I'm playing with right now with my dots could be a good one just to kind of get in tune with your colors. But the book I use to teach that my favorite textbook that I don't make my students buy, but I built my class around it is called Color, A Workshop Approach by David Hornung. And Hornung, David Hornung, Color, A Workshop Approach. It's a book by that was written for the Rhode Island School of Design. And it's just a fantastic book. Good exercises. I think it's in its 3rd edition, but I like the 1st edition the best. And it's a great book. You should be able to find it used for less than $20.
And what was it called? I'm sorry, what was it called again?
Color, A Workshop Approach by David Hornung.
Okay.
And it's based on the theories of Joseph Albers, who's like my god. He's like one of my favorites. But the Joseph Albers book is very strange. It's kind of very abstract and not user friendly. So I wouldn't recommend that one right away.
So
unless you like boring German weird stuff. But
I do. I have one of my best friends is German weird, so I love it.
Yeah.
Raquel said this is a start.
Good. I'm happy for you, Raquel.
Victor I just opened a magic one, Ruben. I don't know what that means, but I'm awesome. That's great. That's a start too. So Lynn, we're going to go to a section where we love to find dogs that need a home, right?
Gioia, this is kind of my jam.
Yeah. So this is Lynn's section that I made special for her. But before that, we are going to play something that Lynn doesn't know. But this is why you should rescue a dog, right? Is that a rescue dog, or what would you say? Adopt a dog?
Adopt, rescue, foster, donate to any of, all of the above.
So I'm addicted to the dodo.
Oh, so am I.
Yeah, I watch
Yes.
every morning to
Yep.
get that going. So, but this is someone special, an all-star.
Is
So here we
it?
go. Yes,
Okay. Oh,
Oh,
this is Lynn's dog that she rescued or
yeah.
adopted.
That is actually Coleslaw. She she's a rescue. She wasn't abused, but she was neglected because she lived outdoors for almost 3 years, and she was given hormone treatments after hormone treatments, and that's the first time she had some medical issues and some dental work, and so that's the first toy she had ever had.
and
So
her name is Coleslaw.
Yes.
Coleslaw.
That's such a great dog name.
I was like, I was gonna try to do a joke. I'm like, what wouldn't you order? Would you order fries, a salad, or coleslaw? Well, we got
She was
coleslaw.
just really happy because she came with a cornucopia of medical issues, but she just couldn't have a toy. She couldn't chew anything, and so I gave her a greenie, and she was just beside herself. So she's pretty fun because everything is new for her. Going across the street is like the most thrilling thing, and she just has a new life, and she's so cute. So
And before we go to the two that are the two stars that are already paid for an adoption too.
yes,
Um, so there was a woman named Luce who put out her, I think her car got stolen, but it was retrieved, but her poetry was lost. So I'm going to play that up because I want, if anybody out there knows where, she says 2 weeks ago this car was stolen. It's found since. It's in a truck in a white cotton bag with black swirly designs on it. It contained my poetry. So the poetry was gone. So if you find it, reach out to Luce. She's an awesome, awesome person. So she put that on Facebook for the community to help out. So she
I
lost her
always,
work.
I always tell my students to write their name and address and their email inside the flap of their sketchbook because it is the worst feeling in the world to lose one.
Yeah.
And I
So
feel so bad for this lady who lost her poems. That's terrible.
yeah, I mean, she probably would rather lose her car than her poems. You
right.
know. Yeah. So anybody out there, if you see that, if you see a book of poems, or please return it to Luce. So that will bring us to the two main stars of tonight. These two.
So
Right?
these two dogs are off the Front Street website, and Ruben is always gracious enough to show them. These are the two dogs that are sponsored, so their adoption fee has been paid for by some generous community member, and there's so many great dogs at Front Street. I was doing the Doggy Day Out program with my friend Tom before COVID, and there are just some gems there, and people surrender dogs for irresponsible reasons and responsible reasons. So, sometimes people can't afford dogs, or sometimes they can't care for these dogs, but these are two prime candidates.
Yes, we have Dahlia and we have Sammy, so they're really cool.
Yes.
They got some really cool bios on them. So,
Yep, and it's on the Front Street website, and they are actually on the cover page because their fees are waived, but they have a lot of great dogs right now. And if you're not in a position to have a dog permanently, there's great fostering programs, and people are more likely to adopt a fostered dog because you're able to give a little bit of information about the dog. So it's not sight unseen. You can say, no kids in the home, or, only dog, or loves cats, but you can you can get to know these dogs and give a little bit more information, so they're more likely to get adopted.
nice. Nice. So anybody out there? These little cuties are waiting for you out there, right?
Look at those
So,
eyes.
so they're like, hey, adopt me or, foster me.
Yes,
So,
get me out of the shelter because sometimes I don't know how to behave inside of my pen. A lot of times they act different inside their pen, and then you get them outside and they're totally different.
so yeah, that's what we found a cat one time. Well, we will credit that. We put a lost cat out there and it was found. So, it's karma, right? Bring it out here.
It's amazing.
I want to go back to, we got a comment here actually a question from Bridget.
I can answer that. She says, what design elements make a Gioia piece art? Do they all depict a narrative? I would say I'm a secret storyteller, and that even though my work is usually looks just like it's abstract, there's almost always some kind of story behind it. I don't make a lot of things that are without some narrative or personal symbolism behind them.
Right on. Does that answer your question, Bridget? Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Okay, move on next. And we like to appreciate. I mean, sorry, my feathers are getting nuts here. We like to thank everybody for coming out to Cali Cocktail Hour. I like to thank Lynn for always willing to come up here and be the co-host. And we have a couple art pieces for you, that I want to show of yours too tonight. And Gioia, we appreciate you coming out. You never know what you're going to get into here, so
It's
nothing
been
bad.
fun.
Yeah, nothing bad. So, and Lynn, I just want to ask you a question about your piece, because I know that the one I'm going to show it's sold, right? And so I'm going to bring it up.
I'm nervous because I think it's
I know you are. I know you are, but
yeah, now that Gioia's here, I maybe don't want you to show it, because one of them is an underpainting. Behind all of my paintings is another painting, and then one of them is beige. Gioia, and I'm so ashamed of myself.
I was trying to bring it in. Yeah, I knew it was going to happen. So, I mean, I was like, okay.
I'm traumatized right now.
I know.
Let's think of good things that are beige real quick.
Okay.
Cookies.
True.
A lot, latte.
Yes. What else, Gioia?
Toast, bread.
Yes. Beer. Some beer.
Mushrooms.
Yeah.
Ooh, mushrooms.
Love mushrooms.
Okay, so I don't hate all
Obviously,
beige.
my painting is inspired by mushrooms.
It's just the endless beige stucco of suburbia that makes me want to die.
Okay, I'm with you. And
Okay.
there is something tied to beige, why I created the painting. But is that the one you're showing, Ruben?
I don't know which one. Now I'm nervous for showing.
I also don't want to wear beige. Like I don't like to wear it.
Yeah.
But I can handle it. Like, geez. Okay.
So we did, Bridget said yes, thank you. And then Chris said, love Gioia's art. Thank you for bringing her on the show. She costs a lot of money, by the way. I mean, at Cali Cocktail, we have the money to, we got nothing.
Free, everybody.
We got nothing, but one day, anyways. Okay, so let me go here, Lynn, and, I didn't, so we'll bring this up right here, okay?
All right, what do we have? Okay. Okay, that has color. But, so actually, I posted that. Underneath my beige paintings lives a colorful painting. It's a painting under a painting, but this really, my friend was just drawn to it, and she loves fuchsia and pink, and so she wanted it as is. I was getting ready to cover it up with kind of a gray cement, and she liked it, and so it did sell. And it was just kind of, I like to just have a little bit of a party underneath my stoic paintings.
I love this one.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Gioia.
I scoped you out on the Instagram and I saw this one. I thought, well, there you go.
There's some color right there, and I don't see any beige, so we're all good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to bring one more up, okay? See?
Oh, okay. So that one is acrylic and concrete, and you can't really see the texture of it. I was trying out my new paintbrushes that have cool lines in them because I was listening to The Cure and Prince that day. And so it just really made me think of The Cure, and it made me think of Prince. And then if you look closely, you can't see in this painting that there are some lines in it that look like vinyl. So all of my painting I always do to music. I'm always inspired by music.
I think Bridget was talking the painting before, too.
Oh, I love it. It would be a party in there, Bridget.
Yeah. So see, sorry, let me go back here. I'm a little bit slow. Yeah, that was great. That was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, it made me more nervous than anything else. I'm like, should I press the button now?
Oh, I thought it was the beige one,
Should I?
and
Yeah.
I was just frozen in time.
Anyways, well, thank you for coming out, Joya. We have, let me take this comment here. I think of Scary Night, I think it's called. Maybe.
Ooh.
I don't know. Maybe. Victor's like, exploring right now.
I like it.
So right now we're going to go to A, because it is Feelings Friday. We talked about, we're going to come back after this to talk about your newer work that you put up that we talked about earlier. And because there's so much to talk about too. So, and you're always more than welcome to, I always tell people it's always going to be a 2-part series because there's so much more to explore about you, Joya, and everybody here. So, but let me go back here. So, last week we talked about communication, right? We talked about like how hard it is, how we need to listen a little bit more to people when they talk to us, instead of always trying to solve people's problems. Sometimes people want us just, to listen. And this is more about, I never knew about Dr. Brene Brown. So I didn't know much until my friend Andrew put it on his show. And so I was like, okay, well, vulnerability, and I understand that too. Like, there is a lot of parts where I'm vulnerable and I feel vulnerable and I'm okay with it. Too. Like last week I was really vulnerable. I didn't know what to do. I tried to, I thought too much about it, but then I just let it all go, and then it was fine after that. So I'm going to bring something up. We'll watch it, and, we can have a little discussion about it. And we'll be right back. Okay.
Second book, The Gifts of Imperfection, Brene says we need to look before we take the vulnerability leap and choose carefully who we open up to. So I love in Gifts of Imperfection where you say if we share a shame story with the wrong person, they can easily become one more piece of flying debris, so well said, in an already dangerous storm. We want solid connection in a situation like this, something akin to a sturdy tree firmly planted in the ground. We definitely want to avoid the following. The friend who hears the story and actually feels shame for you, she gasps and confirms how horrified you should be, then there's awkward silence.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have to make her feel better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen?
Oh, my goodness. Where you're like, yeah.
Oh,
so
God.
now you have to put your shingle out for that person. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm still in shame and I'm one less friend down. I'm like, and you're gone.
The friend who responds with sympathy, I feel so sorry for you, rather than empathy. I get it, I feel with you, and I've been there. If you want to see a shame cyclone turn deadly, throw one of these at it. Oh, you poor thing. Yes. Or the incredibly passive-aggressive Southern version of sympathy. I love this. Bless your heart. Yes.
That gives me the shivers when you say that. That's
Yes.
like, I'm fixing to tear you down and God is on my side.
Yeah.
It is the worst.
We've all been there. The friend who needs you to be the pillar of worthiness and authenticity, she can't help because she's too disappointed in your imperfections because you've let her down. Yes.
Painful.
The friend who is so uncomfortable with vulnerability that she scolds, how did you let this happen? The friend who's all about making it better and out of her own discomfort refuses to acknowledge that you can actually be crazy and make terrible choices. You're exaggerating, the person says. It wasn't that bad.
Right.
Yes. And the friend who confuses connection with the opportunity to one-up you. Well, that's nothing. Listen to what happened to me. So when you open yourself up and you're vulnerable enough to share something that has shamed you, what are you really looking for?
I'm looking for the person who loves me, not despite my vulnerability and imperfection, but because of it. I'm looking for what I call my move the body friends. I'm looking for the folks who are going to show up and wade through the deep with me. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a myth that you should have more than one or two of those. The TV commercials that show 15 of us laughing and doing that kind of stuff. You got one person in your life who you can call and say, I just told a bold-faced lie to someone I care about and I have no way to get out of it, and I'm in a shame storm of epic proportion. You have one person that look at you and say, all right, let's do this thing. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I've done it. Let's talk it through. You are so lucky.
And if you have two or three, that's
Forget
it. that forget
Lottery.
it. Lottery.
Yeah. And you know what we all do, myself included, is we steamroll over those people to get the attention and appreciation of the people who will never show up for us like that.
Wow.
So like, you know, you may be my best friend and you might be all around me all the time, but those folks, those women at the mall that I don't know, they're the ones I'm really worried about.
Yeah. Trying to please or prove
Right.
yourself to them. And you say, of course, we're all capable of being these friends.
Yes.
But especially if someone tells us a story that gets right up in our own shame, that's when it hits the nerve, right? You're human, imperfect, and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yes. It's hard to practice compassion when we're struggling with our own authenticity or when our own worthiness is off balance.
And you know what means the most to me? What means the most to me is if I go to someone with my shame story, and my whole mantra is, you share with people who've earned the right to hear your story.
Damn, that is good.
Right?
Doggone it,
Like,
that's so
you
good.
have to earn the right to hear my story. It's an honor to hold space for me when I'm in shame. And so I want to share. And if I share with someone,
we need to just pause with that for a moment. Okay. Because this is how people get so messed up and violated. It's like the Bible says, casting your pearls before swine.
It's
you
true.
know, offering yourself up to people who don't deserve to have that offering.
That's right. And you have to think long and hard about who has earned the right to hear the story and with whom am I in a relationship that can bear the weight of the story.
Wow, that is powerful.
And if I go to someone and I share it and they come back with one of those bad, not helpful, not empathic answers, and then a week later, a day later, an hour later, they call and say, I didn't show up for you. You were so much in my stuff. I couldn't be with you in that. That means even more to me. We're not going to do empathy perfectly. You know, we're not going to have the right response every time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. It's so overwhelmingly powerful. I have to take a break. I have to just take a break right now.
I love Oprah. So, how many friends have we had that happen before too? You know, it's like, sorry, let me get there. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Sorry, I had to stop it behind the background. So, what'd you think about that? Any friends or that are like that? I think we all have friends like that, right?
I was blown away by the video. I thought about a couple different scenarios, but one of the scenarios that came up for me is when my dad died. I had a really, really close friend, and she never spoke to me ever again after my dad died. And she told someone that she felt so bad for me knowing how close I was with my dad that she didn't know what to say to me. So she decided to not say anything. And then it got so awkward. We just literally, she never talked to me again. And and I'm not mad at her. I forgive her, and I know that just painfully awkward situation, but I thought about that, and I miss her. I love her, but she just never spoke to me again because she was so uncomfortable with the fact that my dad died.
Yeah, I wonder why she couldn't, probably something within her that couldn't get to that point, right?
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes you're not expecting anything from anyone whatsoever. Yeah. Like, I didn't have a big plan that people were going to say to me, and like I didn't have a script for anyone. It was just so uncomfortable for her. So I don't know. That video is amazing, and I want you to send it to me because I want to watch it.
I think I sent you the last video too.
I need another run.
Look at it. Yeah. So, and and sometimes it is hard for people to, I know that I remember I struggled even with like when we talked about with Chris's friend who passed away. It was like, what do you say, right? I mean, and because you want to be also honor that space too, right? Is like, you don't want to say too much. You don't want to be like, overly like a Hallmark card, right? And I think it was Oprah, had a conversation about this too, and it's, I'm sorry is really a lot just to say that too. But I don't know, like I said, your friend maybe was uncomfortable with the fact of death.
For sure, there was something in there. It used to hurt my feelings. I mean, my dad died 16 years ago, but it just popped into my brain watching that video.
Yeah. Well, because it stays with us.
Yeah.
Even though, like, it's like it's it does stay with us no matter what happens, or yeah. So but yeah, I will send that video to you.
Yeah.
I will send it to you. Because for me, it's like it's about being vulnerable too, like putting it out there. Even like the week that I had, if I don't, I mean, I would say this personally, I went through a mental breakdown. I had a discussion with my friend. I go, look, the worst thing that I did was not reach out to anybody and to feel that I can take care of it. I mean, lucky I didn't, nothing happened, but it was pretty bad, and when I wrote down what the scenario to end the whole thing was pretty, that got me out of it. But I don't recommend it to anybody else, So, but yeah, so to reaching out and being a friend, like that was the tier of friends. We all have those, like, hey dude, especially guys. Guys do not emote. So, yeah.
I love that you love Oprah.
Yeah.
And I've read some Brené Brown, and I'm a fan. Not a super fan, but a fan. My dad started reading Brené Brown recently, which I think has really been an interesting development to our relationship, because he's made some mistakes, and him confronting his own shame and how that's affected his behavior over the years has been opened up a whole new, like, understanding what's on the other end of a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of do your hamster wheel in your head forever on, like, why did that go that way? Or why did that person stop talking to me? And sometimes you do that inventory and you realize, like, oh, I'm culpable, or I did something wrong, or, you find something that maybe it was 50% you and 50% them, or 60-40 or whatever. But sometimes you're like, I'm coming up short here. I can't come up with what caused that. And that's when you kind of know the ball might be in the other court. And I don't know. It's just,
but just think, your father just doing that it's really a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah. No,
and I don't want to shame. I don't want to do. I think Victor said girl talk, right? I said, but Victor, the whole point is that I'll talk about guys. Guys need to talk more about this stuff, and we do need to have these conversations, and men need to listen to women about how we deal with emotions, because, we have gotten to this point because we're all like dude talk, right? The earth, what we're doing in the earth is all this, we kind of destroyed the earth right now. We're on that point. And a lot of this has to do, like, like I always said, I'm sent back to see what women have to say, right? I want to see what they have to say. And your dad, listen to Renee, I mean, that's pretty amazing to me. I mean, because it is,
it's cool. And my dad does not have friends. He doesn't have a lot of friends, but now in the past couple of years, he's got this kind of support group or accountability group that he found through his church, which is just like a few people that get together each week and kind of talk about their stuff.
Yeah.
And his reading list is good. Like, it's all good stuff that I would never in 1,000 years thought my dad would read. And now we have a vocabulary to talk about things that we just have never had before. He's 75. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's that's the thing that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then sorry, let me go. Raquel says, just a simple, I'm there for you if you need me, and that's, someone passes away. That's all you have to, I think people read into it too much, like, what am I going to say? What are the, how is this going to look? And you might want to read this one, Lynn, itself, because it's long. It's my niece.
I feel like I've been that person, and I waited too long to say something to be comforting and empathetic, but those moments change you so much. It's a moment of vulnerability that none of us want to be in, but all of us experience it at some point. It's so impactful and so redeeming when you go through it. And I'll just say, on the other end, not involving death, but I've been the person who's waited too long, and I'm not known for my great reaching out and keeping in contact. And it's not a lack of love, but I've been that person. I think we've all
we all have, right?
That person in some scenario, and it doesn't feel good. But it's funny because Brené Brown often talks to, who wrote Untamed? What's her name? She wrote Untamed. She's pretty incredible, and I'm blanking on her name right now. If someone wants to help me, but she's talking. She said something
Untamed
like,
lamp dances? No.
I can't think of her. I'm going to look her up in 1 second, but she said, I will take a bullet for you. I'd probably die for you, but don't ever ask me to go to coffee. Like, I think people just have their limitations, and I get it. Everyone's just kind of marching to their own drum, and
Yeah. And, Bridget says so many ways of communication. If there's a will, there's a way. And human talk.
yes, I
Currently,
have to look up her name.
and currently I'm reading a book by Kara McLaren, and it is about emotional languages, right? How we don't have these languages to. Hold on. Did
Glennon Doyle. Thank you.
see
so
Andrew
much.
knows?
Thank
Andrew is a
you.
very sensitive. Andrew and I talked about this, that it's okay to tell another guy you love him, right?
Yeah.
We always talk about this, and
I love
and
Glennon. Thank you.
thank you, Andrew. Yeah, see, Andrew knows his. Yeah, he knows his stuff. Oh, see, pouring in. So, and it is, it is the vulnerability, especially. I mean, I can talk about, Mexican males or males in general too, right? Not in general, but it's been a hard thing to do. It's been a hard thing to talk about, like, life, and I mean, fortunately for me, I was raised by more women than my dad was not a very nice guy, and not a very, and so it is, you grow up as an empath when you're trying to make sure everything is okay with everybody all the time. So it is hard to, but you've also become that guy who you don't want to be, right? You become the friend that you don't want to be, and you learn, and like I said, your dad, who's 75, to be trying to learn some new stuff, he probably, he probably sees what we all do when we get older. We look back down the mountain and go, I probably shouldn't have done that, or I should have said something, too, and like I said, Andrew is the one that hooked me on to Dr. Brown, right? And I was like, oh, okay, I can go with that too. So, but I appreciate this show because we can go everywhere. We're going to go back into the art, but we will play something at the very end, because also too, at the ending is also when when people go back to bed, and it's also good to have something to think about too at the end. And
We can't end without that dot, Ruben.
with that dog.
The dot.
What
We
dog?
need the dot.
The dots.
The
She wants to
dogs.
see my dot.
I want to.
Oh
see
yeah, no,
your
no,
dot.
no, no. We're going to. No. We're not going to end now. I'm just saying, like,
I want
it's
to see
just,
your dot.
it's great to have this conversation, because it is, it is part, and it's part of art too. It is the
It
art of
is. That's what I was
communication.
going to say. Yeah, this really has to do, to me, vulnerability. A lot of people's fears about putting their work out there, or fearing rejection, or fearing
Oh.
what they want to express. I mean, there's a lot of vulnerability work to do if you're going to pursue any sort of creative field. Musicians, poets.
Yeah. And
actors.
you can go right into that too. It is one of those ones where it's like, I always tell people, like, I would love to say hello to you. I love to talk to you in a crowd, but I just can't. I try, what I mean? But I will leave. I get really, I think about it too much. I'm like, I have to go across the room to say goodbye to someone. I'm like, I won't do it. I'll just leave, or, or like I said, showing a piece of artwork. I'm like, you just get so, what do you call it? Self-conscious about everything, right? Like, well, what if they don't know? What if they don't know what I'm trying to do, or, and it's all energy work, right? I mean, it is all of our energy going in. You say you listen to music. I listen to music depending on the words that I want. Sometimes I don't want words when I'm listening to music, right? So I'll listen to ambient music, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm working on I'm working on a Mexican piece, but I'm working on a piece that resembles Mexico. So I will play Mexican music to get in that mode. But I'm still, like, confused, and I don't know about you too, but I'm always confused. I'm always like,
That's what this line
scared.
is. This line is pure, like, confusion. This is how I earned it. It's just being.
I have it. I
perplexed.
have it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if artists are ever, like, there are some confident ones, right? But most of them I see, or the stories of, like, actors or poets or musicians are always insecure. They're always, I mean, not always, but there's a big part of that to them, you know. And I don't know if that ever goes away. And I think for me, I finally come to a peace with it. Like, you know, I'm always going to be insecure about it, right? I mean, yeah.
Last night, somehow, I won't even explain the long road that it took to get there, but we ended up watching the documentary on Billie Eilish. And
Oh, I want to know the story
she's
now.
just a young girl. She's just
Yeah.
a young kid, you know, but she can play to this millions of people and then still like have boy problems, you know, and be insecure.
Yeah.
And at the peak of fame. So it's just kind of interesting to like, oh man, you got 16 people or 16,000 or whatever, however many thousands of people singing along with you at a show. And then you're going to go back behind stage and overthink, you know, a dance move or something. And I'm not judging. It was just like, it's real. Like that,
Yeah.
overthinking something or
I
thinking
think-
about that 1 30-second flub instead of like the thousands of people that had a good time. It's just heartbreaking.
I mean, how many times have one person will destroy you over 1,000 likes, right? I love your artwork, blah, blah, blah. But that one person, like, oh my God, what, why?
Right.
Right. And, you know, Carly Simon, who couldn't go on stage anymore. She just, you know, and it's real. I mean, all that stuff is real, you know? So it's unknown. Let's see, Andrea said something. There's a lot of words, so.
Art teaches you that you are not alone, from painting to poetry. Others have hurt like you, others have danced like you. That awareness helps build more security, even if it's incremental.
Well, I'm still looking for that. You know, people have hurt me. People, you know, I mean, I know that I've survived it, you know, and looking for that too. I mean, in artwork, I think, you know, when you are, so let me ask you a question. When you are both of you, when you're doing a piece, like for me, it's a part of meditation, right? It's something that I just, you know, I don't need to sit down and meditate, because when I'm creating something, I'm lost in the moment. I don't even know where I'm at, right? And you know, because you do bring that energy to it. So is it, how do you both feel when you're creating something, even if it's for nobody, it's for yourself?
That's the best time, is when it's not for anything. But I think that it, to me, it's when the inside committee, like that nonsense committee that tells you you're not good enough or whatever, that's when they finally shut up, is if I get to work. But all the hours on my way to getting to work, they're like high volume. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
no.
that's the only thing that gets them to shut up is working. That's what makes it stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lynn, what about you when you're creating?
I just, you know, when you get sick of yourself, like I told myself when I was going to start doing my art full time that I wasn't going to criticize myself, and I wasn't going to have expectations or be weird about it. And I was just going to do what I do. And if someone buys my painting, great. And if they don't, great. Then I'll just be buried alive in paintings like a cat lady or something. But I've really tried very hard to not be judged and do what makes me happy and not do something pleasing, but or looking at something thinking, okay, cool, would that be appealing in the MoMA? Obviously not, but I think I like that underpainting that we saw earlier when Gioia said she liked it. I was thrilled, but it resonated with someone, but that was going to get covered up because it was so colorful for me. I thought it was over the top. So I'm still constantly judging, and yeah, that wasn't very articulate at all. I feel like
that's
I really
great.
piecemealed that thought pattern together. But yeah, I don't want to go through life judging myself and tearing myself up about art, because I've already done that about too many other areas in my life. So I kind of want to leave myself alone and, you know, at my age, just kind of go with it with the art, because I've already ripped myself to shreds in over looks or achievements. So I'm really consciously with meditation and reading, I'm trying to leave myself alone in this department a little bit. And it's not because I think I'm awesome. It's because I've already critiqued every single aspect of my life. So I kind of want to leave myself alone in this area to the
Yeah.
best of my ability. I'm not great at it, but I've really told myself just go with it.
Yeah.
Like with the music and yeah.
I've kind of taken on a lot of people in my family are 12-step people. So I will say I'm not a 12-step person, but I'm like adjacent, 12-step adjacent. So I've absorbed a lot of 12-step thinking, recovery thinking. And there's this line that's like, what you think of me is none of my business. And I really think a lot of I can apply a lot of it to my artwork. And it's not my problem whether or not it's good or not. Like, that's kind of not my business, whether or not people like my artwork, or even if I like my artwork. My calling is to make the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
I
can
love that.
liberate myself from like whether or not it's good or whether or not anyone likes it. Or, I mean, there's times when I have to deliver something if I'm trying to design something for someone else or whatever, and I'm accountable. It's not to say that I'm not accountable to delivering the best I can do, but it's really not my problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have to trust, like right now I have a lot of imposter syndrome going on with a project, but I have to trust, like, they selected me, they trust me.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. And I proposed something and they said they wanted that, and I'm going to deliver that. And that's enough.
Yeah.
Because if I second guess myself, I get into like a weird, terrible tailspin, and it's not productive and it's miserable.
Yeah.
You know, and I talk to Andreas a lot, and you know, I applaud his the way he does his waking up at 3 a.m. doing artwork, you know, doing all his stuff, and I was like, dude, I mean, it's incredible. Like for me, I'm like, I don't know if I have that kind of discipline to wake up at 3 a.m. to start doing artwork, or you know, or trying to schedule stuff too. So I don't want to like credit what he said, you know, anything like that. I'm not trying to do that all, but you know, I mean, we all come from a different background, right? We all come from a different background and you know, for me, I come back from a background of a trauma, so to speak, and you know, like I never had a, you know, when I think my other co-hosts like, what did you want to do when you were a kid? I'm like, I wanted to survive. I wanted to be out of this situation, right? And now when I'm older now, I'm like, wow, okay, I guess I will do art. And that was always my, you know, and I look back a little bit at a time. I never went to art school. I never, you know, I was a musician first, and so was Lynn, right? But I transferred into more of like, oh, okay, visually, you know, I was always trying to find a peaceful solution to everything, right? I was always empathetic of things, and I had feelings, and I felt everybody's feelings because I had to go through some stuff. And I think that transfers into kind of what I'm trying to do with art too. I'm like, okay, this is it. This is everything that I've accumulated, but that doesn't have that much energy over me anymore, but I still feel it. And you know, I see Andreas, you know, we talked about, he's coming from a photographer, me too. We're transferring to different things, and it's just interesting to see everybody, all of us, and Lynn, you know, move that, and but we appreciate you too. I mean, not too, but we appreciate you for coming out. And what I like about it is we talk to more about you and who you are, and we're going to show you some more of your artwork. But I love the fact that, you know, we can see who you are, and then, you know, we'll go from and look at their artwork too. And that's what I appreciate, having this conversation with you too. So let's go back to your new project. I think that Andreas was talking to me about it too, which I learned more about too. But should we go to the digital part and then what we talked about?
Yeah, do that part first.
And we still need
to do the picture where it's on the table.
Okay.
First.
Yeah. Okay. And this is oh, I guess you can explain it when we do it. Okay. And here it goes. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this is a piece I've been working on for a year, and this is what I was doing. January of last year, I made this piece, and so you can see that it's paper, and I designed the hexagons in Photoshop, and then I printed them out and cut them out individually because I didn't know how to. my Photoshop skills are like novice. Like I'm new at Photoshop and I'm new at Illustrator. So I don't really know how to do digital art. I just kind of pretend I do.
Yeah.
So I printed all these little guys out, and then I put different filters on them. So it's the same design, but with a slightly different color cast. And then I cut them all out, and then I moved them around on this grid that represents this wall that I was trying to get this public art commission for the California Health and Human Services building. And so I moved these things around, and it was quilt inspired. There's a whole shtick I could tell you about quilts and why that makes sense for the California Health and Human Services. But yeah, so this was my sketch, which I then just literally, you can see my feet at the bottom of this photo. I took the picture from above, and then I cropped it down, and then I put it into SketchUp. So go to the next thing. So there's the digital rendering on the left. So I just took that, that's just the paper picture stretched down the hallway in Photoshop. So that's the proposal that I made for the project. And then me and a team of about 10 different helpers, we hand painted all these tiles, not to be exactly like the ones in the picture, but quite close to the ones in the picture. And we made this piece, and we delivered this piece earlier this year. And I feel like
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Where is that? So we can see that? That is just beautiful.
It's at O and 13th Street, but the building's not open yet. You can see in this picture that they're still, the floor is protected, and they're still putting,
Oh yeah.
They're still finishing the building. But I'm just excited because I feel like I delivered the thing I said I was going to do, and I really had never done anything like this before, and I'd never worked with tile like this, and I never worked with glaze, and so there's a lot of I grew a lot on this piece. I'd never handled this kind of budget before, or so many helpers, and then of course none of this was supposed to take place during the pandemic, and so that added another element to it. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
It is just beautiful.
So it's in the hallway to the bathroom, but it'll be a building that everyone can go into. And if you ever have to pee and you're in that part of town, please use the bathroom here.
I gotta pee right now, so can I go there right now?
Oh
yeah. And you can see down the hallway in the rendering, there's like some chairs. So there's like a lounge cafe area in the front of the building that'll be open to the public. And usually those state cafeterias, the food's not super duper good, but the prices are great. So normal food at reasonable state worker prices. Sometimes those state worker cafes are kind of top secret things to know about if you need a cheap sandwich.
Well, Johnny says that's awesome, great work. And then we do have the other one of you too. There you go.
Yeah. So when you go on site, you have to wear a hard hat because it's an active construction site. So I had to buy a safety vest and a hard hat, and that's
a good look. I like it.
Yeah.
I hope you kept the vest.
I have my own vest and my own hard hat. I bought that hard hat I think 2006, I did a residency at the airport. Maybe it wasn't 2011. Anyway, when the airport was being made, I applied to be part of this residency program to see how public art was made. So I didn't make anything. I just got to go see them install that rabbit and other things.
Yeah.
And you had to have a hard hat for that. And I've been applying for projects ever since then. And even before that, I had been applying for projects, but this is the first one I got. And I finally, when I had that residency, she said, you need to buy a hard hat. And I thought, really? And she's like, you're going to be out at the airport. You have to have a hard hat. So I bought that hard hat. I wrote my phone number on it. I wore it when we were out there, and then it just kind of collected dust in my studio. And then on this project, they're like, you're going to come on site. You need a hard hat. And I'm like, I have a hard hat. So I finally got to wear my hard hat. And you get a sticker. I felt not cool because all the workers have stickers all over their hard hats. And they gave me a sticker. I had to watch like a 30-minute safety training and take a drug test before I could go on the site.
That's funny.
And they gave me a sticker to put on my hard hat. And I'm hoping it's the first of many stickers. I hope I get to put more stickers,
That's awesome.
You gotta have a punk rock. You gotta have like a punk rock helmet.
Yeah. But you don't want to just decorate it with your own cool stickers. It's like stickers from the site. So you have a number on your head. So if the I-beam smashes you and you die, they know who to contact. So
they're like, that was Gioia.
Yeah.
And Joy, do you have a? So I'm going to play your not play, but I'm going to show your Instagram handle. So you do
Super
Instagram.
creative Instagram handle.
No, that's good. That's what you want. It got to be simple. So, and that's your website, right?
Yeah. The only problem with all of this is people have to remember how to spell my name. So
That I had trouble pronouncing your name for a little bit. I had to call Andreas. I'm like, okay, because in my head, if I say something, it will be stuck for about 2 months.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's reformat my brain.
Yeah.
This is your at Facebook,
Yep.
Gioia Fonda artist, amongst other things.
Yeah.
Was that good? Did I read it good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Gioia Fonda, artist among other things. Just because sometimes people meet me as a community volunteer or an advocate or a teacher or
Yeah.
a panelist. So not everyone knows me as an artist, I guess. So
Well, we do. So that's all that matters, really.
yeah.
So we're gonna play a video, and then we'll come back and we want to see the circle, the dot that you
Okay.
wrote.
The dot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And,
I look forward.
and say goodbyes. Lynn, I'm not saying goodbyes, but this is there was an article called "The Art of Long Listening to an Album," which we kind of lost in that way, right? Everything's like 2 minutes now. So Cali Cocktail Hour is listening to a full length album, right? Getting to the zone. So, but we want to play this video from Lynn's daughter, right? We want to give us a little background and how they got signed and what they're doing.
Okay,
Right.
so this song is more of a little snippet teaser. They're more rock, and they just wanted to do like an old school repetitive punk rock 1 minute song, kind of blast your face off. And I think they did it. And their animator who did the video, I think, is 20 something years old, and they've worked with her before. And they're just such a great band, and they're just progressing. And so they just wanted to do a 1 minute song. And
Which
they switched. The vocalist played lead guitar on it, and then the guitar player sang, and they just mixed it up. And they
Vi
have a
sang on that?
full-length album coming up in the summer, but this was just kind of a quick little punk rock ditty.
Yeah, and it comes from the royalty of old, like of Sacramento, royalty of musicians. Because Lynn was a great singer, she won't tell you that, and Sonny was a great guitar player with his hot pants. So, and they had a kid, and she's awesome, right? And it's a really good song. I didn't know she sung vocals on there. That makes it more interesting to me too.
She did, and they're just great people. So
Yeah. So here it is, Destroy Boys, and then we'll come back. Let's do it. Uh-oh. I loved it.
New favorite song.
Oh, I love it.
No, I mean, and knowing that Vice on she sung on the thing was awesome too. And you just learn from the lyrics that it's a different time too, right? And that's what I love learning. I mean, I have learned that I need to revisit my vocabulary, right, too, and learn more different things about it too. So, because I don't know what people are going through when they're that young, they're 20, 21, 22, like what's happening in the world or how they're dealing with it these days, you know. So it's also I love the what do you call it, the not talking part. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's the second animated video that this woman Olive, I think she's from
Yeah,
New York, that she's done,
yeah,
and she's just really cool. And there's great collaborators, and you'd be surprised what they go through at 20 and 21, and
yeah,
cyberbullying and people making up stories,
yeah,
and it's crazy. The bigger they get, the meaner. Like
yeah,
the population of mean people shrinks, but like these people are dedicated to being trolls, and it's hard to watch, as a parent, knowing who they really are. So I think that's kind of what that song's about. I don't want to speak for anyone in the band, but
yeah,
I thought it was a little punk rock punch in your face.
yeah. And it was. I think, and Andrew gave you 3 hearts for the
Well, he
Destroy
knows
Boys too.
Alexia, I believe. I
Yeah,
think
yes.
yeah, the
But
singer.
and I don't want to bring this up if you don't have to, but we talked about this about cyberbullying, right? And how traumatizing it is for you to go through your daughter's it, what's happening with Vi and but it's also very important to bring that up too because we support you. We will do like we will do anything to help you out with that too, right? And as this community like of love and respect, it is hard to understand like why would people would do that to the band itself or to your daughter too. So you know
Yeah, I feel it's funny.
yeah.
It's funny. So this is embarrassing. You'd be sad to know on how many French Bulldog forums I'm on.
Well,
It's
that
really
is different.
shows a lot for my social life. But
Yeah,
someone will post, my dog, my sweet dog, my brindle baby turns 1 today, and then someone will say, that's not a brindle. And then it will like get really hateful
yeah,
shockingly fast. And it's just, I'm so blown away how people can get just gnarly over the strangest thing. Someone will say, hey, my dog has a rash. And they're like, are you a effing idiot? Why don't you take your dog to the vet? And then it's just, I'm surprised how people can go negative over things that don't need to be negative. So that's kind of a struggle for me because I cannot imagine going online and writing something about someone that I do not even know, and I have no grasp of what the hell they're even about. But I mean, I'm a lot older than 20.
yeah.
So
But knowing what you told me, knowing and reading those lyrics, when I heard that, when I saw the lyrics, I'm like, okay, someone's saying something to somebody, right? Someone is saying, like, and knowing what you told me about what is going on in that situation. But the song, I mean, that's what artists do, right? They create something to like, I mean, right?
I feel like I have to be really careful about what I say because
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
when you say something positive about a band, it instigates trolls.
yeah.
And we talked about Destroy Boys has like 700,000 listeners on Spotify, but I have to work with my daughter, and I mean she's had to go in therapy to work on focusing on the 40 mean people when there's
Mm-hmm.
almost a million people that love them.
But
She will focus on the 40 because it hurts her feelings so deeply because these people don't even know her and they're saying horrible things. And they say it about the band, and everyone around them, their managers are like, it's going to get worse. And think about Billie Eilish. I mean, they're nowhere near Billie Eilish, but she
It's the
gets
same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just really hard to watch because it's so far removed from any behavior that I would ever engage in. But she'll focus on 40 people lying about her and the band instead of the millions of people. Like she was on the BBC 2 days ago. But she's like, this person said this and it hurts. It's not true. I'm all Violet.
But and we talked about this earlier in the program, like, like we concentrate on that one person that doesn't like us rather than like, hey, the
Yeah.
people that do like our, our artwork, right? You're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's shit. I don't like the color, or I don't like what they're doing. I'm like, okay, you will see that one. I mean, we're not immune to it ourselves, but I think that what Violet has gone through is like a level above a level of like, just it's there's no, you're too separated from emotion to know what you're doing to the person on the other side. It's, it's not, I don't know how to describe it, but
It's hard. I think when these kids are like 20. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming. I don't really know who like the cyber trolls really are. But I always think, like I become a grandma and I think, oh my gosh, who raised this person? And then I think, wow, you don't even care what you're putting out into the world. And you're actually putting in effort to be cruel to other people. And it's just very hard for me to relate to it. So, I just kind of brace myself for what's to come because they're doing well and they're on a trajectory and they deserve it and they've worked really hard. But it's funny, like they'll post a new video on YouTube and someone from high school will be like, yeah, they're bitches that they knew like 5 years ago. And it's just so juvenile and it's just kind of hard to watch. But,
yeah.
some people really want to invest in that. And last week you were talking about conscious listeners, and I thought, okay, maybe these people, maybe that does momentarily make someone feel better to say something like that. I don't know. I don't
And,
know. It's
and
it's
it
one of the
probably does.
mysteries.
Yeah, and it does, but it's not, it's not fleeting, or it's not like, maybe they have to go through a big growth too of knowing what they're doing too. And plus
Clearly.
people don't know what they're putting out there. They don't know how they're hurting people because this is virtual. I mean, you can say
Yeah.
anything you want, and
Right.
anything to anybody, and right, they can't feel it. Like if I were to say it to your face, of course it's going to have a bigger, different impact. They would never say it to your face, right?
No.
Yeah, they would never, they would never do that. These people, you're empowered by your keyboard, right? And so the keyboard warriors, and and that's what. But it's still like you can't push past it too. I don't care how old you are, how mature you are, how spiritual you
Yeah.
are. You're gonna hit that thing. And I don't think that has anything that is. I feel. I mean, honestly, I feel bad for the generation coming up because it's so instantaneous. It's
Hmm.
so like powerful, or like like vicious of what people
Oh
can say
yeah.
to you. I mean, like
Plug
when
in.
I grew up, I was like, okay, someone called me, I mean, I hate to say the word, but someone called me like a spick. I'm like, okay, well, we'll deal with that right here. You're my face. Let's. But that's all I ever heard. Like, like if they were a racial person saying something to me, or something racist, then we would be face to face. It wouldn't be like, what do you call it? Like, behind where no one could have actual uh, interaction with anybody. So,
Right.
yeah, but I don't know how,
Sorry,
how,
folks.
yeah, I don't, so, but
Yeah.
anyways,
It really. I had to Google internet trolls, and then I'm like Googling libel, and I think, do I sue these 40 people? What I mean? You just,
Mama wants to know. Mama's
I
gonna,
want to know.
Mama bear is gonna, you mess with the mama bear, so you're gonna
The
get some
word is called
claws.
libel. No, no,
Yeah.
no. It makes me crazy. And I've had to work on looking at the other side. It possibly does make people feel better. And it's probably going to get worse. So, I'm just trying to gear up and put on my defense suit.
Enjoy.
I
Have you ever had anybody be negative to, like in that way, that bad?
Oh, I don't really have. I'm pretty bad at social media, so I don't really have that many followers to have to worry about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, every
But I
now
mean,
and then I've had a few people like try to call me out for whatever, and usually it's someone who just they're a troll. They don't know me well enough to make that comment,
yeah.
and I just kind of try to skip over it. But I think you know sitting around waiting to be negative is probably an indication that someone has a pretty unhappy life and that something's not right with their life. I mean, not
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
not right with them, but they've been hurt, and it's just I just try to like read it as like raw communication, is like that person's hurting, and now they're hurting more people, like the hurt people
Yeah.
type thinking.
For sure.
And I just try not to give it that much steam. But I know what you mean, like your French Bulldog forum. Like I'm on an online teacher forum, and this online teaching thing is super, super stupid and hard. And I'm in this group that's like thousands of teachers across the country trying to figure it out. And most of us are supportive, and it's been really meaningful to me to be part of it. But then every now and then there's someone in there who's going to be Mr. McJudge, and
you're
it's
like, how did we get there?
Yeah, and it's already hard. And then like we're here for support and help and inspiration. And like if it doesn't apply to you, just move on. Or if you don't think it's an interesting idea, then move on. Or if you don't have anything to contribute, just keep scrolling, dude. But there's always someone who's going to like correct or call someone out or call out their pedagogy. And sometimes people just need to blow off steam on that site too. They might complain about students a little bit, and there's always someone like defending the students, and it's like, this is a teacher space, like we need to blow off steam.
Yeah.
We are, like, duh, we all love students, we're here, but they are also super annoying sometimes, and it's okay to like air it out.
Yes.
And this is supposed to be a safe place to do it, and obviously it's not, which is why I would never do it there. But it should be. We should have a space for that, and we tried to create a space for that. But there's these teachers that just, I don't know. Again, I think that their lives they just must be hurting even more than we're all hurting. There's something going on that they're like, instead of spending time with my family or creating or fucking binge watching Netflix, I'm going to sit on here and police this teacher forum and make people feel shitty about what they're doing.
And say really horrible things to complete strangers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on a French Bulldog forum. And they're like, are you an idiot? Why don't you take your... I'm all, what?
Well, and there's times when I've seen stuff that I think like, and I find myself like, sometimes there'll be something that I think like, oh, that's not a good book or a way to handle that. And I just kind of try to, there's other ways to phrase, to offer. I mean, I struggle with like unsolicited criticism. Like I don't want really anyone's thoughts on something unless I ask for it. But I feel like people are literally asking, like, does anyone have an assignment for this or a way to handle this? So you put it out there, you asked, and now people are telling you. And every now and then I'll see it get out of hand, and I'll think, okay, I've gained a lot from this forum, and so I want to contribute to it. And I'll just try to like use an I statement, like, well, this is what works for me in my classroom. And it's not a judgy, you can offer that without it being a condemnation on what the other person's doing. You can just say like, I have found that when I've done that, this has happened, and here's how I've handled it, and take it or leave it. And then I just like never go back to the discussion, like just drop it and move on.
So smart. Yes.
Yeah.
Smart. Yeah. It is mind-boggling. And yeah, I always want to take the high road, but sometimes it's really hard.
So, and it is hard to also not to react to it, right? And that's kind of,
they
always
never react to it. Destroy Boys never. They just let people.
There's
and they're just like, we cannot engage. I'm glad you're more mature than this 50-year-old, because I want to be like, fuck you.
I mean, my first thought was when I saw the video, I was like, thank God punk rock is still alive.
Yes.
Number 2, thank God girls are making punk rock. Number 3, like, the punk rock thing to do in this situation is just to ignore it.
Yeah. It is.
And the song, the song's great. I mean, the song
and the song, the punk rock thing to do is also just make more songs that speak to it. And that song is so powerful. Like, I feel like that should just be an anthem for all young women struggling with social media. Just post that song and move on with your life. Like,
it's a quick 1-minute little reminder of what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for coming out to Cali Cocktail Hour, and thank you for engaging in, all the stuff that we bring out, right? From Brene Brown to, we'll go back into that I mean, I'll post that video so people can see it too, because that's another conversation and conversation that we just went into now too. And also, your artwork is beautiful.
It's
Thank you.
beautiful, Joya. So
It's
Yeah.
been fun to be here. The only plan you disrupted was me working on my teaching some more, which is sad that I would be that person working on teaching it
On Friday
10
night.
o'clock on a Friday night, but that's where we're at.
Well, I know, but
well, I would have been on the French Bulldog site, so
yeah. So I would have probably been listening to Oprah right now, walking around. But, yeah. But yeah, we appreciate that too, because as much as I love to see your artwork, but I really love to see what your personal who you are, and I think that's it's hard because most times we see, oh, this is the artwork that people do, but no, what do people think about, like what do artists feel, or how they're doing it, or it's like and that's great to see too. I mean, that's a different kind of way to see an artist, rather more up and personal, rather than their artwork. And like you said, you want to know how they are, what they think, right? And so I'm thankful that you whatever I threw at you, you came up and enjoyed it too. But so
I feel like I've been lurking around, getting to know you for the past couple of months, tuning into your show on Friday nights. Usually I try to be in my studio and you're kind of the background talking in my studio.
okay,
And,
hope it's a good talk too. So.
Well, I think it's just like sometimes I listen to a lot of music, but also sometimes I think I'm just lonely and it's nice to hear other voices in the building. And I listen to what you guys talk about and I think like, oh yeah, this is all stuff I'm thinking about too. So it felt, I was really happy that you asked me to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm glad, and I think we need a part two to show some more artwork and some more, and like I said, like it is awesome that we, talk about different things too, right? And Destroy Boys, that I love what you said about that too, because
I followed them immediately, like before the song's over. I'm like, where are they at?
Lynn and I talk about this stuff, and we talk about it, but it's great to know that there is other allies out there. And people who like, and the way you said it too, an anthem for I mean, I can't say that myself, like an anthem for young women too, to pretty much say, fuck off, I am what I am, right? And and thank you for that too. But we did talk in the very beginning about your.
Okay, yes. I need everyone to have a little context.
Yeah. Okay. So, there you go.
Then I said we were waiting for the show to start, and I said I'm going to paint a dot, and so I painted a dot, and I paint a dot a day because I got this book that's called One Color a Day, and I think I bought it. It was a spur of the moment purchase, and I thought I'll buy it and I'll give it to someone for Christmas, and then I just didn't, and then I started looking at it and I thought, oh, it's kind of cool. And then I thought I thought it's stupid. And then I thought it was cool. And then I thought, maybe Joya's the person who wanted to paint a dot a day. Cause right now I'm not getting to my studio every day cause I'm teaching and I'm here and I don't make art in my house. And so, so the idea is to paint a dot a day. And so they have these pages that are all lined up so that there's like a grid and you just, paint a dot every day, and then there's like a little place where you can journal. And so I've been painting a dot every day all week, or every week. So and then sometimes it gives you like, sometimes my dots get a little bit elaborate, but usually I just try to keep it to a dot. And like sometimes they give you like, this week you're thinking about nature in your dots, or so there's prompts, but they're super loose. And a lot of weeks there is no prompt. You just have to kind of go for it with whatever you have going on. And so this is like one of their pages, an example of like what you're supposed to do. And this was like their example of nature. And so then my nature dots, it was like the week that it rained and it was just like storms all week. And
they're awesome.
And then there's so these are like, this week didn't have a theme, so it was just my own theme. And so I don't know. I'm doing a dot a day.
I like them.
Sometimes I have to paint 2 dots a day because I fall behind. It's so dumb that I can't even commit to 1 dot a day, but some days I struggle. And so while we were waiting for the show to start, I painted these last 2 dots.
That's what you asked for.
Yeah. So today's dot was this one.
Awesome.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. And you don't need a book like this to paint a dot in. You could just go painting a dot every day. In fact, I think these dots would look way more interesting if they were all on one big page. And maybe I'll cut up my book afterwards and do that. Or in the paper that's in this book, I don't recommend this book because the paper is kind of crappy. And again, it's just you're just painting dots in a book. So they didn't really need to make a book for this, but it's kind of cute. And I hope the person who created this is happy. And I like it better than I thought I would.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's So we went on for over 2 hours. So I hope you're okay, right?
Yeah.
But I told Lynn likes this part, and what you'll know when I bring it up. But we'd like to thank everybody for coming out. We'll be here next Friday, and I do pop-ups. I did a pop-up last Tuesday with my witch friend. She was called the Gold Country Witch, and it was an awesome show. Everybody out there too. I'm going to show you something real quick. And Andrea said, always expiring. We want to ask you, and hold on, we have another one. Painting is so therapeutic. Your dots are beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks.
So much more meaningful with your description.
So,
Yeah.
and this is what we love about Cali Cocktail Hour, because we just don't know what we're going to get, right? But we do want to ask you a question. Oh, thank you for hosting, Ruben. You're welcome, Victor. Hope you have a great night. And I hope everybody has a great night tonight. I will be posting the Brene Brown video on afterwards too.
Oh, good.
And I'll be sending it to Lynn for sure. Because, yeah. But we want to go back to your love languages before you go, right? What is your love language? Because it's easier to communicate with people when we know, like, do you quality of time, right? Words of affirmation. So anybody out there too, post what your love language is, because last time I did this, Lynn's like, I'm into that, right? And I'm like, okay, well then I'll do it. So we'll look at this and tell us what number 1 and number 2 is, so we know. So if
My love language?
Yes.
Well, do I have to pick one of those?
Yeah, these are the well, you can pick whatever you want. Actually, there's no. I would love to pick whatever you want to pick. Yeah.
She's like, none of the above. Thank you, though.
Yeah. Well, I like the words. I don't really touch people that I don't live with, so that's not one. But time.
Yeah.
But that's hard for me. Like, I'm always short on time. Acts of service. I think that might be one, maybe.
Yeah.
This is going to sound dorky, but what I was going to say is that, like, stickers might be my love language.
That's perfect. We just know, right?
Because I just mailed a bunch of Valentines out using, like, literally stickers and stamps. I didn't make, like, artful Valentines this year. I just picked the stickers that made me think of the person, and I mailed Valentine, and they were like a week late. And I still have a bunch more to do. I think like letting people know I'm thinking of them.
So that would be quality time, right?
I guess, or quality mail.
Yeah, quality mail time. Like for me, like it is quality time, right? I mean, it's funny because you see different people, like, because, we're always like running around and I'm always trying to, do something, but just being in the moment with that person and just knowing that when I do talk to people, I'm there for them no matter what, right? And I'm not somewhere else. I'm not just saying hi. That's my mind, and physical touch, just because, sometimes I remember in one of my most safe spots that my mom would always like rub my hair or rub my, and I know that that is one of the things too, when you are anxious and everything else, you rub your, whatever, like, your side of your arm, right? Wherever that spot that where you really feel secure, right? Even as we're old, it doesn't matter how old you are. It's, you've always have that memory of stuff like that. So that would be like mine too, right? Because I learned that time is fleeting and time is, I don't have time for everybody all the time, but if I'm present, that's what I want to give people myself, and it's like, so, but that's it. That's just me. That's my curls.
Yeah.
No mustache. I can never grow a mustache. No, that makes no sense. Okay, good, great. um, but we like to thank everybody for coming out there. Lynn, what is yours?
So it always sounds weird when you say it. Mine is acts of service.
Yeah.
It in terms of it always makes me feel loved when someone kind of helps me out when I feel like I'm drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say acts of service. Obviously, that phrase is a little strange. I'm not looking for someone to do
Serve you.
chores for me, but just, when someone,
No, and that makes sense.
like
You know,
if my son takes out the garbage without me asking him, I get very, very grateful for those little small things.
and I think that's kind of what you have to like look at those things too, because sometimes people look at them too grandiose, right? And it is about that too, because I know that my girlfriend Melissa, it is one of acts of service. So if I do stuff, or whatever I need to do, to do and help out around, and that's something that people like,
Yeah.
right? And that's something off your head, off your mind, and it makes you be more comfortable too. So there's very different ones. So
Were you
But-
asking for like how we like to love other people, or what kind of love we like to receive?
well, it's also what you love to receive.
Oh, yes.
Should we put it up?
You're like, I don't want any Valentines.
I
Yeah,
want to take it back.
Yeah. No. Yes.
I think the words are good still. I still like the words
Yeah.
and the time, but I think the time is funny, so I like the words. Like the words kind of stay. Like if people write you a note or
So words of
say something to
affirmation.
you.
Yeah.
Or like my husband was gone for a long time because he was hiking, and I just missed somebody telling me I looked nice every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Words of affirmation. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing, and you know what I mean. Like it sounds, like Lynn said, it sounds more grandeur than it is, but it really is like, hey, you're looking great today, or
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I used to do this with my when I actually I'm go back to work, but as a manager, I would like, okay, tell me what your I put out a note. I'm like, put your love languages down, right? Because to the to the staff, and they loved it. Like, okay, well, and so, but I knew how to deal with everybody. Like this person likes this person likes words of affirmation. I'm like, hey, you're doing a great job today. Oh, good,
I think
thank you so much.
tiny, meaningless, worthless presents, and secret inside jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. So, but thank you for coming out tonight.
Yeah,
And thank you for,
this was fun. This was great.
When I think we almost broke the record. 2.5 hours. A big bottle of sake right here.
I can't believe I'm awake. I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for coming out. We have a lot of people, still out here watching. That's why we didn't go out. Thanks
Bye.
Where do you
Thanks,
know
everyone.
Andrew from?
Andrew is such a super good artist. He's a friend that used to live in Sacramento, and he used to teach with me.
Yeah.
He's super talented. The person on the call tonight that liked artwork that looks like nature, Andrew's your man. He does a lot of plein air painting that's just getting better and better every time he posts a painting. I'm like, man, that guy's getting better.
And
he
where's
was
Andrew
good.
from?
I mean,
Where's
he
he
was
now?
super good, and now he's getting better. He's in Reading now. He's in Reading, and
See, Andrew can come on for Cali Cocktail Hour too, right?
yeah, he's just a very sweet person who likes to spend time outside and painting, and I love outside and love painting, and he's just terrific.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Andrew, for coming out. Thank you, Andreas. Andreas said thank you. And I know that is it's 11. What time is it? 11:21. Wow. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So we'd like to thank everybody for coming out. See, Andrew said.
Yeah.
Perfect. So thank you for coming out, and thank you, Gioia, for coming out. Thank you, Lynn, for indulging in our little, community out there of live
I'm
streaming.
happy to be here.
Virtual
Thanks
energy.
for having me.
Yeah. Fourth dimension, fifth dimension stuff. So thank you for everybody for coming out. Gioia, thank you for coming out. We hope you come out again, and we'll talk some more and show some more of your artwork. Yeah. And the cups behind you are awesome, by the way, too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And everybody else, thank you for coming out. do Cali Cocktail Hour. We'll see you next Friday.
Thank
And
you,
maybe
Ruben.
next Tuesday for a show. And Lynn's going to come out again next month, right?
Lynn, I enjoyed getting to know you.
You too, Joya.
I
Yeah.
followed
Let
you
take your
too. I was
color
like,
theory
ooh, I'm gonna
class.
follow that person. And Andrew had the spiritual homie, that clip you played.
Yeah.
That guy's really fun to follow on Instagram too.
Yeah. And they're all, you know what I'm excited for is this new way of communication that, and anybody out there who has a forum to communicate, whether it's, I would love to help put it out there. And that's what I've done, is volunteer my time to people out there to do these forums because it's free. Number one, I mean, well, $25 a month for this, but I mean, it's literally free to do. And, I can teach you, I can do everything, you want to do. And, but my whole thing is to help people to get their voices out there, right? To get their, whoever they may be, to get their voices out there, get everybody out there. So, I'm totally in for that. So, but yeah. And Andrew's awesome. They're all awesome. So I'm excited about everybody's shows coming up and it's starting to, so if you're up at 6 a.m, you want to hear an Aztec dancer, a light worker, it's too early for me, but anybody else is more than welcome to. So, and coleslaw too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, good night. Have a good one. We'll see you next time on Cali Cocktail Hour Friday night. Thank you, Joya. Thank you, Lynn. I will see you soon again. And this is it. We're out.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Everybody.
Bye. Bye,
Good night.
Joya.
Everybody, good night. Good night.
Good night.
Baby, I've seen my dad, and I'm alive to kill the time. What triggers the idea of la da da da? Well, I've lived this before. And why must we experience it? My curiosity kills cities of cats. That's that. La da.